Well, let's see if this works. Hopefully this is working. Hopefully it's working. Yes, I think we are live. Wow, how exciting. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Music with the Maestro. I'm Anthony Blake Clark. I'm the music director of Baltimore Choral Arts, and we really are very excited to be able to come into your homes and into your electronic devices and talk about music, have a little bit of fun, have some performances for you to enjoy, and just to stay connected in this strenuous time where we are all sort of a little bit separated, unfortunately, but we might be social distancing, or we might be physically distancing, but we certainly don't have to socially be distant from each other. So that's part of the point of these series, and just to keep music alive in our lives and keep each other fed musically and artistically and spiritually. So this is our, I think I just said it's the fourth episode, but I think it's our third episode actually. The other purpose of this, of course, is to maintain some normalcy fundraising-wise for our Vocal Fellows. The Vocal Fellows program is a program that consists of young professional singers who are making a living as musicians, as freelance artists. And of course, it's a very difficult time to be a freelance artist right now because of everything. There have been a number of concerts that have been canceled, and of course, our singers gig around with other groups, and they are in the same boat as we are. We've had to cancel at least 5 concerts that I can think of off the top of my head, possibly more down the road. So this fundraising tool hopefully will sustain their careers as we navigate these strange few weeks. So a couple of news items to share with you. We have been so lucky to have been named the recipient of the 2020 Alice Parker ASCAP, or the Chorus America ASCAP Alice Parker Award for 2020. So what that means is Alice Parker is a dear, dear friend of ours at Choral Arts and the whole choral community. She's a wonderful leader. She has just about an encyclopedic knowledge of choral history in America, and she's seen it all. And she was, if not an absolute sort of forefront leader the whole time, she was certainly a fly on the wall, and took turns sort of leading the way in this country, serving under such people as Robert Shaw. And so this award is named after her because it is intended for choruses who are somewhat traditional in scope, but have pushed the boundary program-wise. And so Choral Arts has been the recipient of this for this year because mainly of our 2 performances last year in which we really, I think, pushed the envelope of what we could do and what choral music and the concert experience is like. So we did this David Lang Little Match Girl Passion concert in which we infused the Bach chorales from the St. Matthew Passion in the right places, because the David Lang Little Match Girl Passion was inspired by the Matthew Passion by Bach. So it had Bach, it had other pieces that sort of weaved the story along, and so the Match Girl Passion was sort of the framework, the skeletal kind of scaffolding, and we filled it in with other things that were pertinent, and we had movement, and we moved the audience from one place to another, and we had film and visual elements from MICA, Maryland Institute College of Art. We had actresses, we had a clarinetist in the audience. It was spectacular. So we've been recognized for that, as well as our performance with the Maryland State Boy Choir and the Peabody Preparatory Orchestra, and of course the Choral Arts Orchestra and Chorus in Jonathan Dove's community opera called The Monster in the Maze. It's designed to be this collaborative, intergenerational, multi-dimensional work for professional choir, professional singers, community choirs, children's choirs, youth choirs, and everything in between. And we even built a monster and had actors, and it was great. We had costume designers, stage managers, stage directors, the whole bit. So we're really, really thankful and grateful that Chorus America and ASCAP have recognized our work, because we think that we're really pushing the envelope as far as what choral music concerts should be. And this year is no different. We just finished on March the 1st a dynamic collaboration between Peabody and Micah and ourselves doing the Monteverdi 1610 Vespers, but in a very sort of abstractly, artistically cross-pollinated kind of way. So we had visual elements, and we had movement, and we had all kinds of crazy stuff going on in the hall, and it was a big hit. And actually, that's part of what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to give you some video previews, or I guess not previews, but postludes of what happened on March the 1st. In case you weren't able to be there, we're going to show you some video clips. And I think after that, we'll just open the floor for some question and answering, because I think there are probably things that you as an audience member might be curious about when it comes to programming or an artistic director's role in the life of an organization, or how we go about producing a concert, or anything. Actually, just ask me anything, as they say, and we'll do that. Also, just want to let you know that next week we're going to do something really exciting. Because of the stay-at-home order, we cannot any longer have vocal fellows running around my house doing pieces for you, unfortunately. But what we are going to do is we're going to put together a video of us in different locations, 8 or 10 singers at a time, doing music of spring madrigals. Okay, spring is in the air, and so that means that the music of Thomas Morley and Edward Elgar should be dancing around our ears. So you'll have next week, for your enjoyment, some vocal fellows singing electronically all together some spring madrigals. So you don't want to miss that. That'll be really fun. So Monteverdi, I kind of gave you a little bit of a recap already about what that concert was all about, which is very exciting. It was a truly sort of magnificent concert experience, and something that I would love to relive over and over, because it was just a joy to be at the helm of. James Revell and Lily Maya are both on faculty at Micah, and James is the head of the interactive design department, and they were once again our collaborators, just like last year, and just like next year, upcoming with our Poulenc Stabat Mater project that I'll tell you about sometime. And they have just turned out to be the best partners that we could possibly have imagined. James has a background in composition. He studied at Juilliard, and Lily has a background mainly in drawing. And so that's it turned out to be a great sort of very understanding collaboration and partnership between the two of us, or the three of us. And you added the early music department of Peabody, and it just sailed off like a dream. And I can't think of a better place than Schreiber Hall, our new home, to sort of highlight how we can work together across artistic disciplines to create some really spectacular music making and art making in a dynamic way that's not often seen. So I'm going to try and share my screen, and we are going to listen and watch a little bit of our concert. So this is the opening 2 movements of the Monteverdi 1610 Vespers, and maybe after that I'll give you a little short history lesson on the Vespers. So here we go. Let's try and do this and that. And please comment about the volume. Tell me if it's okay. If it's not, I'll fix it. Okay, I'm told that we have some problems, so I'm going to see what I can do about that. Hello everyone, I'm back. Let's see. Tell me if this works. Can you see my shared screen? Okay, I'll increase the volume. So here's the second movement. Just 1 second, guys. I'm going to do one other thing, the only other thing that I can think of. Watch this. Copy. Paste. Go. How about now? Okay, I've been told that it's not working. I'm going to do one more thing and see if it happens. Did that work? Okay, I'm going to stop it there because it sounds like it is just not working. So that's okay. Things do happen, don't they? So, let's see. Am I back? I hope I'm back. If you can see me, great. If you can't, oh well. So what I've done is I've actually commented in the comments, I've put the link to the first half of the concert from Monteverdi into the comments. So you can go on to Vimeo.com and you can watch that yourself, because it is just a lovely, lovely performance. You can see all the visuals that went into this. There we go. I'm back. All the visuals that went into this performance, and get a little bit of a hint of what it must have been like to be in the hall. It was just exquisite, absolutely amazing. So I guess there isn't much more that I can show you, but I can go maybe give you a few more musical examples just a little bit later about Monteverdi. So let's see, Claudio Monteverdi, born in the mid 1500s, mid to late, sort of later middle 1500s. He was born in Cremona. He was a really stellar musician from a very early age, along with his brother Giulio Cesare, and they sort of worked together off and on for the entirety of their lives. When Monteverdi was about 30 years old, 20, I guess maybe late 20s, he became employed by the Duke of Mantua, which is the Gonzaga family. If you know, if you've watched the Borgias or Medici on Netflix, you know very well about the Gonzaga family and how notorious they were. So he was a court musician. He was not the Maestro de Capella. He wanted to be very badly for a number of years. He, over the course of his career in Mantua, he felt more and more abused as a musician, and at one point he was ordered to go with the Duke of Mantua to the Ottoman Empire wars that were happening in Turkey, and entertain the nobility that were in the tents and the camps in the war. So he, I think, at the end of the day, he felt like it was a little bit of an extra sort of task that should not be required of a musician, to go on to some crusade kind of war campaign. But I think he also brought back with him a little bit of an Eastern sensibility to some of his music, as much as could be jammed into Italian Baroque style or Italian Renaissance style. So eventually he begged for more money. He really did. He got a small raise, but not enough in his estimation. He was really looking for more other employment for a long time. He compiled what I think happened, and there's some debate to what actually happened, but I think, to me, what makes the most sense is that he compiled some of the best of his compositions over the last 15 years or so, and then he took a little bit of things from existing music that he had, and that he sort of retrofitted into this Vesper service, and then he composed new works and bundled them up, put them in some sort of liturgical order, took out the antiphons, and in place of antiphons he puts these sacred concerti. So they're pieces for solo voice, and then duets, and then trios, and then eventually sort of goes in backwards in retrograde, so back to 3, 2, 1, every other movement between psalms. And he calls it the Vespers of the Virgin Mary, and packages it with and it's, by the way, I should say that it's very forward-thinking music, and packages it with a very traditional mass, puts it together, publishes it in Venice in 1610. He takes his son, and he goes to Rome to appeal to the Pope for papal approval of this work. Long story short, he ends up getting it. He gets the Pope to basically put his stamp of approval on it, and gets it basically widely distributed all throughout Europe. In fact, in 1612 or 1613, Praetorius is recorded to have played the work, the Vespers, in Germany. Of course, many people associate the 1610 Vespers with San Marco in Venice. This is just not true. Monteverdi was still under the employ of the Duke of Mantua in 1610, and in fact the music director at St. Mark's Basilica, which, by the way, is right here, right above me. That is San Marco in Venice, and I have had this up in my sitting room ever since we moved here. I just love to look at that piece. It almost looks kind of like a snowy version of San Marco, which doesn't make much sense, but I think it's beautiful. It's really fun, and it's a good inspiration when I'm sitting here on the harpsichord or something. The music director there didn't die until 1613, and Monteverdi went and auditioned for the role of music director and got it. We are pretty sure that he auditioned with pieces from the 1610 Vespers, according to some records. That's likely what happened. So it's an amazing piece. It feels a little bit disparate and patchwork, but then if you hear it in order and you can listen from movement 1 to the end, it has this incredible arc to it that's a little bit indescribable but abstract enough that it's interesting. And I think that's why the visuals that mica artists inserted into this work really make so much sense. So I'll just play you one other thing, and I know you can't see. I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to try one more time to share the screen, but it just might not work. So I've been told by Karina that you just cannot share the screen and go back and forth to the camera on Facebook Live, which is crazy. I don't know why they do that. So you have to start with the shared screen or with the video, and you can't do either. But there is an extension that we can add on next week. So I guess we'll just listen to a little bit of Laudate Pueri Dominum. I'm going to just move to the relevant place. This is minute marker 1722. Just one moment. What's interesting to me is how Monteverdi goes back and forth between Renaissance style and Baroque style. Of course, Baroque style being very, very new, and something that was not sort of, you couldn't put a label on either of these terms back then. But it's really interesting to hear when he's really looking backwards, when he's really looking forwards, when it's sacred feeling and when it's secularly written. So this to me is very so that's very interesting to me. Something else that we're going to do, and maybe Karina can help me with this really quickly, is we're going to link in the comments not only this Vimeo link of the video that we already did, but James and Lily have set up a website with their artwork set to another recording just for their own reference that really shows you up close, and you can sort of zoom in and put the full screen on, of their artwork, of their filming that they did. They filmed all throughout Maryland, all throughout the surrounding areas as well, I think in Virginia, but they also filmed in Spain and Italy. I think it was just incredible that they were able to capture so much footage. So that was a great concert. We're really happy to continue this idea of multidisciplinary works that really sort of stretch the idea of the concert hall experience. And of course, we're going to do it next year again with the same collaborators on a different piece that explores a wildly different theme. That's the full-length Stabat Mater project on February the 28th, which deals with the story of Mary's from Mary's perspective and her loss of her son Christ, mirrored by a modern story by a living female poet named Elizabeth Kirkpatrick Verinos, in which she lays out poetry in a book called Special Delivery that explores the loss of her son, who is a college-age student in a plane over the skies of Lockerbie, Scotland, in the Pan Am bombing, and how those two stories sort of interact and commingle. And it's going to be a really beautiful experience, I believe. So, yes, we should now move on to the next portion of this, which is Q&A. Ask me anything. I'm wondering if you have questions for me or for anyone else in the choral arts world about what we do, how we do it, programming, artistic planning, how we set up a season, what goes into a concert, anything at all. So I'm going to see if there are questions already in the comments. And if not, I'll just vamp for a while. Like I said, next week we are going to come to you with vocal fellows, albeit they won't be in person with me, but we will be in our various living rooms or backyards, wherever we are. We're going to prepare some spring madrigals for you, sort of have these boxes, sort of grids like celebrity squares, and we're all going to be singing our parts individually, and we'll come up with this little miniature virtual choir version of us singing spring madrigals. So you are not going to want to miss that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, again, if you have questions, feel free to just shoot them over to me. Do I miss you? Someone from Choral Arts asked if I miss them. Of course, dearly. You're my lifeblood. The music that you rehearse and sing are just amazing and give me my purpose. A question from Tom. How did the ornamentation style of singing, which was used extensively in the Vespers, evolve? So Baroque ornamentation is a mysterious thing for us conductors because, of course, there are treatises, there are documents, there are sometimes reviews, there are sometimes letters from composers to composers or composers to performers talking about ornamentation, talking about vibrato, which really back then was considered an ornamentation. But of course, there are no recordings. We can't hear exactly in a performance practice regarding performance practice. We can't go back to a reference recording and say this is definitely how they did it. But we can take really good guesses. And ornamentation was something that did just that. It embellished and it highlighted. And I think there was a moment where ornamentation was very free form and very up to the individual artist, and there were some elements of ornamentation that were expected in different styles and in different places in music, and performers were kind of just expected to know that. And then I think sort of late Baroque, very early Classic was sort of we start to see ornamentation dwindle, and ornamentation is then notated in the score in a more formal way. And so I think you can look back at Baroque ornamentation with great fondness and say, wow, isn't it interesting that, back then, and I hope now, depending on the style, that the leaders of music really deferred and gave responsibility to the artist for certain elements of style and interpretation. And I'm not sure I answered quite the question, but that's a good start. Karina asks, favorite moment during the Vespers performance. I think that my favorite movement has always been Nisi Dominus. It's just really sprightly and fun and has a little bit of a mischievous feel, and I really liked doing that. Of course, I really enjoyed all the moments where we all came together, where there were 100 different people singing and everyone was playing and the videos were going. That was really cool. A really, really cool thing. Yes, so it's been a fun episode. I'm very sorry for the technical issues, but thank you for spending this half hour with us. And of course, next week we will have Spring Madrigals and we'll have vocal fellows in the flesh, as it were, almost, singing these things. We're going to have some Elgar. We're going to have some Thomas Morley. We're going to talk about madrigals. We're going to talk about music that's inspired by the seasons, and maybe we'll have some more Q&As, because this has been fun answering your questions, and hopefully you can spend a week and think about more questions that you have. I really deeply appreciate your support as we continue to figure out ways to keep our vocal fellows and our families taken care of financially in this strange time. They need your support. There's a donate link in the video description. If you enjoyed this, give it a click. I appreciate you all, and I will very much look forward to seeing you in 1 week's time as we celebrate spring. Yay! Okay, have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep the music going. Bye!